The USS North Carolina, the leading vessel of its class, emerged on the horizon with unwavering determination, cleaving through the waves. Its formidable 9 16-inch guns resounded, propelling 2,700-pound shells toward the distant adversary. The Imperial Japanese Navy fleet advanced with unyielding resolve, vying for dominance in the Pacific. With pulsating engines, the North Carolina surged forward, unleashing a barrage of gunfire to create a breach in the enemy ranks. The ship's paramount objective was no easy task: safeguard the U.S. Navy's aircraft carriers at any cost. As the two task forces collided, the mission grew increasingly challenging. The Japanese fleet deployed aircraft in swarms, poised to assail the American vessels with conventional bombs or devastating kamikaze attacks. Undeterred in its protector role, the North Carolina stood firm, responding with over 40 guns from its secondary armament. The sky transformed into a perilous labyrinth of anti-aircraft fire engulfed in smoke and the din of gunfire from both American and Japanese fighters. In the face of unrelenting Japanese assaults, the robust armor of the USS North Carolina boldly resisted enemy bombs and torpedoes. The crew remained steadfast, dedicated to preventing the task force from being scattered by the adversary. The North Carolina tirelessly unleashed salvo after salvo, repelling attackers until the barrels ran hot, persevering as the sun dipped below the horizon. The keel of the North Carolina-class USS North Carolina was laid on Navy Day in October 1937 at the New York Navy Yard in Brooklyn. The vessel's hull, surpassing Navy standards of the time in size, necessitated the lengthening and strengthening of the building, ways to accommodate the lead ship of the new battleship class. Launched on June 13, 1940, the ship became a testament to cutting-edge naval design. During the commissioning ceremony on April 9, 1941, Clyde Hoey, governor of North Carolina, remarked, "Its very power is fascinating. It commands our respect and will help us command the respect of the world. It speaks a language even a dictator can understand." The USS North Carolina, hailed as the world's fightingest ship, received accolades from major American outlets, with the young Catholic Messenger describing it as a solid, gleaming symbol of America's awakening from a naval holiday of 18 years. Amid bugle calls, salutes, and radio broadcasts to millions, the USS North Carolina officially entered service, its pennant slowly ascending the flagstaff to signify commissioning. Bearing the designation B-55, it stood as the lead ship of its class, embodying the pinnacle of naval innovation. With a commanding silhouette extending over 700 feet, she wielded formidable armament, including 9 16-inch guns. Complementing her main battery were 25-inch guns, serving dual purposes in anti-aircraft defense. This robust arsenal fortified her against aerial threats. North Carolina's powerhouse lay in her sturdy power plant, a quartet of oil-fired steam turbines propelling her at a swift speed of 28 knots. What truly distinguished North Carolina from her contemporaries was her revolutionary protection scheme, featuring specialized armored belts and decks safeguarding vital machinery and personnel from enemy projectiles. During the Guadalcanal campaign, affectionately nicknamed the Showboat, BB-45 underwent months of testing and sea trials following her commission into the U.S. Navy fleet in April 1941. Under the command of her first captain, Olaf M. Hustvedt, North Carolina embarked on her shakedown cruise in the Caribbean Sea. After the Japanese surprise attack on Pearl Harbor in December 1941, the United States declared war on Japan and Germany. Consequently, BB-55 was ordered to the Pacific Theater for immediate retaliation against the Asian enemy. Prior to her Pacific deployment, North Carolina was stationed at Naval Station Argentia, Newfoundland, in April 1942 to block a possible sortie from the German Kriegsmarine's battleship Tirpitz. Although there were rumors of a commerce raider in the vicinity, it was never sighted by Allied forces. Subsequently, North Carolina set course for the Pacific, arriving in Pearl Harbor on July 11, 1942. Upon arrival, Fire Controlman 1C Larry Reason recalled, "The crews cheered and cheered us. I couldn't help saying to myself, they're cheering us for nothing. We hadn't done anything. We had not fired a single shot yet. But to them, we were the symbol of help, finally arriving in force." Assigned to Task Force 61, the showboat joined the fight at Guadalcanal alongside the aircraft carrier Enterprise, light cruiser Atlanta, heavy cruiser Portland, and other destroyers. North Carolina played a crucial role in providing cover for the 1st Marine Division's landings, with the objective of seizing the Japanese-constructed airfield. Additionally, the battleship's batteries and armament roared to protect the carrier Enterprise and engage both ground and air targets, contributing to the softening of Japanese strongholds at Tulagi Island. Nevertheless, not everything unfolded according to plan. On the night of August 9, 1942, a Japanese cruiser squadron launched a surprise attack on the U.S. Navy fleet, achieving victory in the Battle of Savo Island. Despite this setback, USS North Carolina valiantly safeguarded carrier task forces against further Japanese incursions. The showboat showcased its valor during the Battle of the Eastern Solomons from August 24 to 25. In this intense engagement between carrier forces, North Carolina's radar detected a daring counterattack by the Imperial Japanese, who focused their efforts on USS Enterprise. As Enterprise evasively maneuvered, North Carolina provided relentless anti-aircraft fire, shooting down enemy fighters and bombers. In the face of direct strafing attempts, North Carolina emerged unscathed from the encounter, with only minor damage inflicted during subsequent waves. During the clashes against Japanese carriers, North Carolina downed 8 and 14 enemy aircraft, respectively. After the battle, the battleship returned to the waters of Guadalcanal, continuing its role in safeguarding the island's Army and Marine Corps units. However, on September 6, Imperial Japanese Navy submarines torpedoed North Carolina. While one torpedo narrowly missed, a second strike on September 15 caused significant damage, resulting in the loss of 5 sailors and a temporary failure that disabled the forward turret. Despite listing 5.5 degrees to port due to flooding, North Carolina maintained her bearing and withdrew to Pearl Harbor for repairs. Unfortunately, other ships in the task force were less fortunate, with USS Wasp scuttled and USS O'Brien sinking due to extensive damage. After repairs from September to November 1942, North Carolina joined USS Saratoga and Enterprise for convoy escort operations in the Solomons. As part of Task Force 64, North Carolina guarded ships delivering troops and supplies for the Guadalcanal campaign throughout late 1942 and early 1943. Following a refit and the installation of more sophisticated radars in preparation for the Allied landings on the Gilbert Islands, North Carolina, illuminated by the setting sun over the Pacific waters, stood proudly among the members of Task Force 50.2. The mission was clear. Support the assault on the Gilberts and Marshall Islands, including Tarawa, Makin, and Abamama. With additional vessels, North Carolina navigated hostile waters, raiding the islands in November 1943. From Palau to Woliai and Hollandia to Truk, the battleship's guns roared with determination, eliminating threats from Japanese aircraft to island fortifications. North Carolina remained a formidable presence until the last enemy surrendered. After a refit in May 1944, North Carolina returned to strike the Marianas. Assigned to TG 58.7, the battleship played a pivotal role in assaulting Saipan on June 6, 1944. Her main battery bombarded the island, softening defenses for the U.S. Marines and protecting minesweepers clearing the path for the beachhead. North Carolina's guns also targeted Tanapag Harbor, destroying enemy supply dumps and sinking small Japanese vessels. Engaged in the Battle of the Philippine Sea on June 18, 1944, North Carolina resisted the first enemy blow and counterattacked with lethal anti-aircraft fire. While carriers played a primary role in the battle, North Carolina and the U.S. Navy fleet inflicted serious losses on the Japanese, crippling the Imperial Navy for the remainder of the war. Throughout subsequent engagements, North Carolina continued to excel, shooting down Japanese aircraft and incapacitating many others. After an overhaul at the Puget Sound Navy Yard, North Carolina sailed to attack Japanese positions in Leyte, Luzon, and the Visayas as part of TG 38.3. Surviving a kamikaze attack during these assaults, North Carolina maintained its resilience. In January 1945, the battleship struck Formosa, Indochina, and China, contributing to the decimation of Japanese garrisons. 1 month later, North Carolina guarded Navy carriers attacking Honshu. As the U.S. military approached mainland Japan, she supported attacks on Tokyo and the Bonin Islands. During the onslaught of Okinawa in April 1945, North Carolina fended off several kamikaze assaults, taking down 3 in intense aerial engagements. In the face of an air-naval counterattack led by the waning Japanese military, North Carolina's iron will prevailed. As the destruction of Japan continued without signs of surrender, the U.S. Navy withdrew from Japan as a typhoon approached. The surrender followed the 2 atomic bombs, and the battleship, having occupied Japan, returned to the United States for decommissioning on June 27, 1947. Although initially repurposed as a training vessel for midshipmen and placed in the inactive reserve fleet in Bayonne, New Jersey, attempts to modernize the vessel in the 1950s were cancelled. Citizens of North Carolina campaigned to preserve the iconic World War II vessel, successfully raising funds to relocate North Carolina to Wilmington. Modified and preserved as the state's war memorial, North Carolina's legacy and its 12 battle stars continue to be honored by thousands of visitors each year, commemorating the sacrifices made during one of history's most devastating conflicts. Thank you for watching.